Arizona carries out its second execution of this year. This morning, the state executed Richard Jerf by lethal injection at the prison complex in Florence.
12 News journalist Craig Harris is following the developments and has more on how today's execution unfolded. Craig.
Hey, good afternoon. Well, clinical. That was the word used numerous times by witnesses of today's execution. At 10:40 a.m., Richard Jerf paid the ultimate penalty for killing 4 members of the Luna family.
Today should be about the members of the Luna family, who Richard Jerf brutally murdered that September day in 1993. Those 4 innocent victims deserve justice, and their loved ones deserve closure.
That was Attorney General Kris Mayes. She spoke briefly on Friday morning at the state prison in Florence following the execution of Richard Jerf. Media witnesses told us Jerf was escorted into the execution room shortly after 10 a.m. 40 minutes later, he was pronounced dead. Arizona has had a history of problems with executions, but this one, like the one earlier this year, went relatively smoothly. Media witnesses said the only issue was technicians had problems getting an IV into his veins. That temporarily delayed the execution process, which lasted only a few minutes. Witnesses noted Jerf was very compliant during the entire process. When asked if he had any last words, Jerf replied, "No, I do not." The execution was the ultimate punishment for the killings of 4 members of the Luna family in 1993. Jerf, in September of that year, went to their home in Phoenix. He tortured and killed 4 family members over several hours. The victims are Patricia and Albert Sr., 18-year-old Rochelle, 5-year-old Damien. Jerf in 1995 pleaded guilty to all 4 murders. The next year, sentenced to death. Jerf's last meal today, a double cheeseburger with lettuce, onion rings with ketchup, a slice of cherry pie, and a 20-ounce Pepsi. There are now 107 inmates on death row. 3 are women. I'm Craig Harris, 12 News.
You know, one thing that death penalty opponents don't like about our process here in Arizona, they talk about secrecy. You know, we still don't know exactly where these drugs are coming from. And we also don't know the people who are administering them, correct? I mean, when the doctors or the technicians come in, they're fully covered and they're not identified.
Yeah, that is one part of the secrecy, but the Department of Corrections put out a very big packet earlier to all the reporters covering this and said they do it to make sure that the people who go and do this execution are protected, and it's an all-volunteer basis at the Department of Corrections who wants to take part in this, and they want to make sure that the folks who do engage in this don't have any retribution later.
All right, Craig. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here are more local stories that we're tracking for you at 4. Police are investigating what they believe to be a murder-suicide in eastern Arizona. Police responded to a home in Pima where they found 4 people dead inside. It happened around 1 o'clock today. The Pima Police Department says there are no outstanding suspects, but the investigation is ongoing.